Space Cats. It's been a right old week. I can't believe it's already Thursday and I don't seem to have done a huge amount yet, but today I'm going to put all that right. Tomorrow is going to be an off day because I've got stuff to do with the hospital for my husband, and also I've got pottery coming up, so that will be exciting. I've got something cool coming out of the kiln that I've recently been working on, so fingers crossed. The kiln gods have been nice and it is in one piece because I think it's going to be quite cool. We are creeping towards Christmas. It is the 27th of November today, so we've only got less than a month before Christmas Day, but I'm not having Christmas Day on Christmas Day this year. I'm going to have it on the 29th or the 30th. The 30th of December is going to be my Christmas Day, and I've got to make something to send to somebody for the 25th though. So if you want to help me make this, be my motivation to get this done, then watch along and I'll tell you a little bit about the choices that we made with our kids when they were little and why I think they worked out just about okay. One of the things that I wanted to rectify this week is this spread. There was just something I wasn't 100% happy about. This is for my book Emily Angel, which I will be working a little bit on today. So I swapped it for this composition, which I like a lot more, and I also like the characters a lot more. So Emily Angel is saying, why are you sad? And there is a little girl looking very sad. I just liked the way that the sky and the earth, the grass, met along here. Anyway, enough of that. So that's been keeping me busy this week. This is what I'm going to be working on today. It's just an image of Emily Angel. And it's for my son because he is coming for Christmas, but as I say, it's going to be a late Christmas. He's going to be working away this year and probably for many more to come because the job that he's got means that he's busy at Christmases. There's a little hand. So the idea is to just have her with a little sort of like banner that says Happy Christmas on it. So the gossip on the choices we made, it starts with the school system that we used to have on the Isle of Wight, which was the same as when I was growing up. We had primary school, or first school as we called it, and then we had a middle school, and then a secondary school, or these days they call it a high school. But in the middle of my first son's schooling, the council changed the policy and they made it so that middle schools were going to disappear. So you went from primary school from the age of 4 through to 12, I think, 11 or 12, and then secondary school, high school. 5 toes. And 5 toes. He did really well at primary school. He does have some, I don't want to give too much away really, but he does have things that, additional needs that the primary school were brilliant at giving him. But unfortunately, when he went up to middle school, he was the last year to go to a middle school, and he was really lost, and it was not great. It was not a great time for any of us. So we decided that we would take him out of school for a year and home educate him, see how he got on. And he did so well. He did really, really brilliantly. And within a week, he was putting on weight and his mental health was better. And he was really good at learning, you know, the things that he really wanted to learn, he was very good at. So he was then 10. When he was 11 and a half, he took his first GCSE exam, which is General Certificate of Secondary Education. And he passed that, and that was chemistry, and he passed that. And then he took one every year. He decided not to, or we decided as a family, that he was not going to go back to school because he was doing so much better at home. So that was all good. That really went well for him, and he has subsequently moved on, gone to college and done 4 years at college and got an HND, Higher National Diploma. So, part of that was at university. So I think, you know, on the whole, the decision that we made for him was correct. During all the time that he was at home, my younger son was at primary school, because there's 4 years difference between them. So he was at primary school, and we used to go and pick him up together, and yeah, I mean, it was all working pretty well. And I did have in my mind that at some point, younger son might decide he'd like to try being home educated, despite the fact that he was getting on really well at school. And we discussed it and decided that if he did ask, then we would try it, because it's not fair to give one child opportunities and not the other. And it really was a huge opportunity for our first one, because school just didn't suit him. So I had this idea that yes, he'd probably want to try it, but not like it and want to go back into school again, and that would be the end of that. And I was kind of happy with that choice. However, he came out of school and really enjoyed it, but it was a completely different, it was very different. Whereas with my first son, I would set him work and he would do it. With my second, he liked to be in a group situation. And that really meant setting up some group work for him to do. So I ended up running a drama club with a load of other home educated children on the island. The island does actually have quite a big group of home educated families, some of which work better than others, but I think that most of the people that I've met, their children have done absolutely fine without being at school. Yeah, so I ran, for about 4 years, I ran an English and drama group, and both my boys were doing English GCSE with a tutor, and the tutor decided she was going to move on and do other things. So I took over that role, and I actually tutored for 3 years children through their English exams at 16, or sometimes a bit younger, and all bar one passed. So I had quite a few children come through my groups. It was great fun. I really enjoyed it. And the only person who didn't do very well, I think she had probably undiagnosed issues with reading. So that was really good. I really enjoyed doing that, and I did that really just for my son, so that he could fulfill the things that he really wanted to do. Peach green would do it. But let me tell you something, home education is not for the faint-hearted. It really is not. Actually, let's give that some water first. And the reason I say that is because I woke up every day with jitters, thinking, have I done the right thing? Am I qualified to be doing this? Shouldn't they be in school like everybody else? But the thing is, I think with our first child, we just didn't have a choice. It was just, he was being bullied. They weren't helping him with the things that he needed help with, which, courtesy of the council who had been and assessed him, said he needed these particular things, and the school were just unable to provide it. So it was a bit of a no-brainer. I think he would have ended up in a much worse situation. So in terms of that, I felt like, yeah, okay, that's what we've got to deal with. But for the younger one, it was difficult to know whether it was the right thing to be doing. But we just kept on, because we'd had our experience with our first child. I think we just thought, well, it's worked okay for him, let's keep going, see what happens. So what happened was, again, at his, I think he was 13, he took his first exam, which was English. He passed it with flying colours. He took maths, he took environmental science, he took chemistry. What was the other one he did? He did 5 in total. And during that time, he was also helping out with Food Bank, which in the UK is a charity-run, a volunteer-run charity that helps to give food to the people who don't have it, or sometimes other things as well, but mainly food. And also signpost to services that are going to help people who are in big trouble sort of financially or with housing. Anyway, so he was doing all that and he really enjoyed it. And once he'd done enough of his GCSEs, he went back to school to the 6th form, which in this country is from 16 to 18, to do A-levels. Got his A-levels, got into university. So he then did his university degree, got a distinction, and last year he went to study for an MA, quite far away in a very different part of the country to here. So it's sad that we don't see him as much. That makes me really sad, but I'm so proud of him for doing so well for a home educated child. And he was given a job before he'd even finished his MA, so he's now working in his chosen field, doing what he loves doing. So I can now sit back and be relieved that that was the right thing to do for him, and the right thing to do for our other son as well, because that's all you really want as a parent, isn't it? Is to do the right thing for your kids, if at all possible. And it's not possible for lots of people. Doing home education is not for everybody. I realise that. But it really worked for us, and I'm very pleased that it did, and it all worked out okay for them. So, being as he's not going to be around for a lot of Christmases, what I'm doing here today is I'm doing him a little picture of Emily Angel, because he has been behind me all the way with this book. He really likes it. And I'm going to make it into a little Christmas decoration for him so that he can hang it up in his room. So I think it's really nice when I've got stuff that my mum made for me. She liked to sew. And I've got lots of stuff that she did for me when I was more a sort of teenager, maybe from 10 upwards. So maybe this will be one of those things that he keeps forever. Who knows? And then he'll be travelling on the 29th. And so we're having Christmas Day on the 30th, which should be really lovely. But the question is, now this is my main problem this year, is he was the chief elf in the house. He was always the one who was in charge of putting the Christmas decorations up, right from when he was quite small. And it was something he always really liked doing, even when he was at university, which wasn't too far away from us, but it was, you know, a couple of hours travel, and then, well, getting on the ferry and from the other side. And he would get me to wait, even though he didn't finish his term until sometimes just a few days before Christmas. He would get me to wait, not put the decks up, because he really wanted to do it. So that always works really well, and I like that, because I don't really like putting the Christmas decorations up very much. So he did that, but this year he's not going to be doing that, so I'm going to have to put up the Christmas decorations. And I'm at a bit of a loss. Right, let's get a good brush. So I don't know if you remember, but if you've been hanging around with me for a little while, back in COVID times, I used to do a live stream, during live stream. And this feels a little bit like that, except I'm recording it, because this is all in real time. And I'm trying to talk and be coherent at the same time. It's difficult to do. It's difficult to concentrate on one thing and let your mouth do something else. Who knows what I'm talking about? Not me. I know Christmas can be quite tricky for some people, and I always have that in my mind. And one of the things that I've always felt like I'd really like to do is go and help at one of these churches, or, you know, places where they put on, like the Salvation Army in this country, they put on Christmas lunch for people who are going to be on their own or are homeless. And I just think that's such a lovely way to spend Christmas Day. Okay, I'm going in with the hair. So my intention with this is to cut round it, when it's all dried, is to cut round it and then cut another shape out that's exactly the same, and sandwich a nice piece of ribbon in between the two so that he can hang it up. Crazy hair. She hasn't actually got coloured irises in the book. I just thought I'd do it for this. That's quite cool. Right, and then I think the last thing I really want to do is I'm going to need to write on this scarf as well. Scarf, banner, whatever it is. And I'll do that in my Fudnasuka pen. Just give it some shadow in that little crease in there. It's such a dark day today. It was lovely yesterday, but freezing cold. And then today, it's quite cloudy and a little bit rainy, but 11 degrees centigrade. Yesterday it was -4. Okay, going to leave that to dry, and then I will write Merry Christmas across there. Can be a little tricky to get your wording exactly in the right place, so I've worked out the H needs to be in the middle. Christmas. Merry Christmas. I decided in the end that I would paint that in white. It just stood out a bit better. So now I've got to cut it.
So I'm sitting right by my window. Sometimes people come up and stare inside it, like these two people going past right now. Creepy old man walking his dog. He's probably not creepy at all, it's probably lovely, but it was just creepy that he kind of stared in at me. It does look like, my building does look like it's unoccupied. So we do get people coming in quite a lot of the time to see what's going on. But what is really nice about being here is it's a very secure building as well. I won't go into the details, but suffice to say, I always feel really safe here. And it's just lovely being with tons of other creative people as well who are doing all sorts of things. Okay, there she is. So what I'm going to do is cut out an exact replica of that shape, but just uncoloured. And then when I sandwich the two bits together, I'm going to put a bit of ribbon in the top too, so you can hang it. And I'll show you what it looks like when I've finished. Well, I think it worked quite well, and I'm pleased that I've now got a little something to send to the old fella. I'm not doing your typical Christmassy things like I've done before. This is my nearly 7th or 8th year, 7th I think, of doing YouTube, and I've done Christmassy things before, so if you want to look at how I draw elves and foxes in the snow and stuff like that, then you can go back and have a look at those. But I'm going to do other things for Christmas. I'm going to do some other content, so keep a lookout for that. And if you liked this style of kind of like very loose kind of chatting and drawing and doing something arty, let me know, because it's useful to know what sort of things you want to watch. If you did like it, I'd be really very grateful forevermore, and send you many virtual custard creams if you could give me a thumbs up, like and comment, or share with somebody, or subscribe if you haven't done already, because like everyone else says, it does help. I'm not sure how much, but it does help. I'm off to finish my hot cup of tea before it goes stone cold. This is one of my mugs that I've made. It says on the back, "Shh, I'm being a mermaid." And you might notice I've got some other merch that's popped up in my shop. If you look underneath the video, there's some t-shirts and some mugs and greetings cards and stuff like that that all go through Tea Mill, which is on the Isle of Wight, and they are an organic and sustainable company. So they do, all of their t-shirts are organic, all of their merchandise that you can print on are sustainably obtained. So I'm liking that, and I think they're doing pretty well as a business worldwide these days. I've seen them on other YouTube channels. So go and have a look at those if you want to. I want to do some Woodland Friends stuff. I'm still working on that. I'm definitely going to be doing some hares and dormice and badgers and stuff like that as well, so keep a lookout for that. And in the meantime, in December, I will see you in about 2 weeks. Next week there'll be another retro throwback that you can have a look at if you want to. I'll post that, and I will see you when it's getting on towards Christmas. Nanu nanu.